critics are writing words of praise for Erin Bode. This St. Louis singer was both the entertainment and the guest of honor at a party at Jazz at the Bistro. It celebrated the release of her CD, Don't Take Your Time.
I took a trip on a train, and I thought about you. I passed a shadowy lane, and I thought about you. 2 or 3 cars parked under the stars, a winding stream. Moon shining down on some little town, and with each beam, the same old dream.
Bode's musical frame of reference covers a pretty wide range of styles. She was weaned on Beethoven and the Beatles, big bands, and Broadway show tunes. Even though Bode listened to a lot of jazz growing up, she never considered making a living at it until she started studying vocal performance at Webster University.
I had the good fortune of meeting Christine Hitt, who was the vocal jazz director at Webster. And a friend of mine was in the chorus also. And she suggested to me to join the vocal jazz ensemble. And right away I hit it off with Christine, because Christine is also from Minnesota. And so we had that bond there. But she was a fantastic teacher. She really knew how to combine, like, how to be a professional musician with the love of the music.
I'm following the river down the highway through the Clayton of MaxJazz.
After college, Bode got a group together and started performing around the St. Louis area. She also produced a CD that did well for an independent release. But a hint of what was to come happened 5 years ago when Bode sang at a New Year's Eve party at the Ritz-Carlton. That's where she met the president of the recording company, MaxJazz.
My teacher, Christine Hitt, was one of his first vocalists. And I remember thinking, oh, that's the guy who Christine's working with. And I thought, oh, I wonder if anything would, if he likes what we're doing or anything like that. And it was not until a couple years later when he came a few other times to see me. And I think we had become a little more well-known around town and everything. So then I guess he came to Cafe O one time. We were playing there, and he came a couple other places, and finally asked me if I would like to have lunch and discuss, a possible project. So it was a couple of years after we first met, but it was good, rewarding. It made me feel good.
That's good treatment. I'm glad they moved the glass to the other side. Makes it read like Yoshi's.
Richard McDonnell and his son Clayton are the forces behind MaxJazz, based in Webster Groves. Both men once considered careers as musicians, but in the end, they felt their passions for jazz were best channeled into recording and promoting other artists. Richard McDonnell founded the company in 1997, while he was still working as an investment banker for A.G. Edwards.
Our approach is artistic freedom, and our primary decision is choosing the artist. If we make a good choice, then the artistic freedom part of it will be an enhancement of what we've already decided, because clearly an artist in any artistic endeavor is most happy when allowed to express the art that the artist wants to do.
We did our first couple of recordings out of our house, so you can imagine as a high school student trying to study for a test the next day, and you're hearing some noise downstairs, and of course, do I want to study for this, or do I want to go watch this recording? That was the beginning of it, and I was obviously supportive of it, but I wanted to be able to go to college, figure out what I wanted to do. I'm very fortunate enough to know that it was something that I could do with him eventually.
One wall of the McDonnell's offices is a pictorial homage to the legends of jazz, such as Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, Charlie Parker, and Miles Davis. The opposite wall is lined with MaxJazz artists. Richard McDonnell's fondness for black and white photography is key to the striking look of every MaxJazz CD cover.
We spent a lot of time and effort looking at various ways to show ourselves in the marketplace. I think we're respected for the fact that we do give a lot of time and attention to the quality of the wrapping around the artist.
Don't take your time, come to me, I'll make you mine.
Erin Bode is one of the latest names on a notable MaxJazz roster of more than 20 artists. Among them, guitarist Russell Malone. Pianist Denny Zeitlin. And the vocalist whose 1999 Grammy nomination gave the fledgling label a big boost, Carla Cook.
Can this be love that I feel for you? Maybe some dreams really do come true.
We have artists who are certainly deserving of a Grammy nomination, and I think time will prove that true.
The headquarters of MaxJazz just happened to be next door to a Webster Groves cultural institution, Webster Records. For more than 50 years, Webster Records has been the place to go for devotees of jazz and classical music, along with American standards. The people who run this venerable shop say they're very impressed with what MaxJazz has accomplished in a fairly short period of time.
They've been just going along releasing wonderful music, appealing to all ages. I mean, we have a lot of young people who listen to Erin Bode, and many of the older customers, they have been purchasing her new CD.
In 2005, MaxJazz plans 8 or 9 releases. Could this label become the next Blue Note?
MaxJazz is kind of in the tradition of labels like Blue Note, Verve, those kinds of jazz labels.
Calvin Wilson is an arts and entertainment writer for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
McDonnell has a certain vision for what he wants MaxJazz to be. It's an acoustic label. It's what you call straight-ahead jazz. And even Erin Bode is sort of within that paradigm. She's making straight-ahead jazz. And I think it's a classic case of, you decide what you are, what you want to be, what your goals are, and you work toward that. You have a focus and you work toward it. The buzz is positive. I mean, I've heard people from all over the country talking about it. I talk to a lot of journalists about it, and it just couldn't have a better profile. I think Erin Bode is appealing to a lot of the same people that Norah Jones appeals to. In our words, there's a lot of craft there, there's a lot of technique, but more than that, I think there's a lot of likability in how she presents herself. She has a lot of presence.
Although MaxJazz does its production work in New York, its founder says the home office will remain right here in the St. Louis area. And Richard McDonnell is confident the younger members of the MaxJazz family will uphold the tradition of straight-ahead jazz for decades to come.
It would be an honor for us to kind of continue to release great recordings. I'd have to get back to you on that in maybe 5 to 10 years. But I think so. I think we're on the right path.
It's a lot of fun to be involved in all aspects of this business, because it truly is a business case study in how one should approach advertising, packaging, manufacturing, choice of artists. I mean, it's all there. And then to be in the middle of this music all the time is just, it meets my test for being happy.
The more that I've gotten to meet people through having worked with MaxJazz and being part of them, the more people say, "Oh, you've got a good deal here."
It will leave no heart.